In less than a week, Apple's going to be releasing 4 new iPhone 16 models at their September 9th event. But rather than talking about just the newest or latest leaks, in this video I want to go over absolutely everything we've heard about these phones, from the new displays, battery upgrades, camera features, and more. Now, personally, I'm most excited for the Pro iPhones, which we'll talk about in the second half of the video, but let's start off first at the base of the lineup. What are you getting this year, starting at $799? The iPhone 16 is getting some nice design updates this year, although a lot of the fundamentals are staying the same. On the front, for example, we've got the same 6.1 and 6.7 inch displays that are OLED but still locked at a 60 Hz refresh rate. To get the smoother 120 Hz ProMotion screens, of course, Apple wants you to buy the Pros. Up top, Apple is continuing their use of the dynamic island once again to interact with your live activities. And around the edges of the phone, a super comfortable aluminum design that not only feels great in your hand, but that keeps the phone extremely light. For the colors this year, Apple is making them a bit bolder. The pastel collection is going away, and Apple is really turning up the saturation across the board. Although on the bottom of the phone, Apple is getting rid of USB-C on here and switching back to the Lightning port. I'm just kidding. They're not actually doing that. That would be terrifying. USB-C is staying on the iPhone for the foreseeable future. On the left side of the phone, though, is the first big change for this year, as Apple is getting rid of the mute switch and they're replacing it with the action button that we first saw debut on the iPhone 15 Pro back in 2023. This new button can be remapped to whatever you want. It's just a dedicated option for the camera or your flashlight or anything in between. By the way, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already for more videos on the iPhone 16. But that's not the only new button this year. On the right side of the phone, below the power switch, Apple is adding a brand new capture button, which is one of the more interesting changes across the entire iPhone 16 lineup. And it sounds like the goal is to basically make the iPhone 16 feel more like a traditional digital camera than ever before. A light press on the capture button is going to allow you to manually autofocus the lens, for example. A hard press will allow you to take a photo. A swipe left will allow you to zoom out on your lenses, or to the right will allow you to zoom in to an increased focal length. And there may even be gestures for switching between your photo and video modes quickly with like a double tap. It's gonna sit like right here where your index finger goes, and is going to be by far one of the more interesting things Apple has added to the iPhone, maybe ever. And the cameras this year do seem to be a big focus for the base models. As you may have noticed already, on the back of the iPhone 16s, a completely redesigned camera setup, as Apple is finally getting rid of that weird diagonal design that we've had for way too long. And they're placing the wide and ultra wide lenses on top of each other. So the same 1x, 0.5x setup as before, but with some new features like the ability to capture 3D spatial video. Because then when you put on your $3,500 Apple Vision Pro headset, you can be fully immersed in that memory that you recorded now as a base feature on the iPhone 16. Previously, you could only record this type of video on the Pro models. But there are more practical changes coming, like the ultra-wide lens is getting some massive updates, increased low-light performance, as well as likely the ability to shoot macro photography for the first time ever, which allows you to get really close to objects, capturing insane detail, and this was previously limited to the Pros. It's been an iPhone feature for a while, but only on the Pros and never on these base models, which I think is really exciting. Most notably, there will also likely be some exclusive AI camera features that Apple will only make available on these newest iPhones, because they're the only iPhones that are getting the new A18 chips, which were specifically built for AI features. The new A18 chip on the inside this year has a massively upgraded neural engine specifically built for a lot of Apple's intelligence suite, meaning that using all these features like making a custom emoji whenever you want, rewriting text, using the new version of Siri, ChatGPT integration, photo memory AI albums. All of this is going to be the fastest and work the best on these new iPhone 16 models. Plus, based on Apple's event invites, it looks like there's going to be some exclusive AI features just for the phones in general that they have not shown off yet. And to enable all of this, the iPhone 16s are getting upgraded from 6GB to 8GB of RAM, as 8GB is the mandatory requirement for Apple Intelligence to work on any device. That being said, how is all this going to impact battery life on the iPhone 16? And well, we've heard something really interesting, that while the base iPhone 16 is going to see an increase of about 6% in battery capacity year over year, one rumor says that the largest iPhone 16 Plus is going to see a decrease in battery capacity of about 9%, which would be one of the largest battery decreases we've ever seen on on an iPhone model, and especially weird for the biggest iPhone with the most amount of battery space. Well, maybe Apple is doing this because of some bigger internal changes happening on the inside, like the overheating issues that we first saw with the iPhone 15 last year. While they have been broadly dissolved, Apple is making a big change to heat management this year, as they're said to be installing a new graphite sheet on the inside so that your phone does not run as warm. The MagSafe magnetic ring is also getting a big update this year, with it getting quite a bit slimmed down for the first major MagSafe redesign since we first got MagSafe back in 2020 on the iPhone 12. And the iPhone's microphone is also getting a huge improvement this year, where it's said to be able to hear you more clearly, which is going to be really nice, because I feel like half the time I'm talking to Siri, not only is Siri not smart enough to know what I'm saying, but it doesn't even acknowledge that I'm a person, kind of. So very excited for that microphone improvement. And that is absolutely everything we know about the base iPhone 16 models. But if you're like me, as I said earlier in the video, I'm most excited for the Pros, because Apple is doing some really cool things with these models this year. So what do you get starting at $999 on the iPhone 16 Pro lineup? Apple's going to be selling the iPhone 16 Pro in a new 6.3-inch screen size, as well as a larger 6.9-inch screen size, which is just about 0.2 inches bigger than what we have currently. Now, why would Apple just randomly be increasing the screen size? It actually seems like it's for a number of reasons. Like around the edges, Apple is able to make the bezels even thinner because of a new technology that's available that allows them to make them not just the thinnest iPhone bezels we've ever seen, but one rumor says they will be the thinnest bezels on any smartphone in the entire world. So it's almost that perfect edge-to-edge design on the iPhone. And the screens themselves are going to look the best they ever have. They're getting brighter than ever before, with a peak brightness up to 1200 nits, which is a 20% improvement year over year due to new screen tech. And while we have the same dynamic island up at the top, you are getting that beautiful 120 Hz ProMotion refresh rate that I genuinely think is still the reason to buy a Pro over the regular models. The screens just look so good. But in your hand, of course, Apple wants these phones to feel incredibly premium. So that's why they are continuing their use of the titanium material again, although with a slight change this year. It's going to be a bit more reflective and lifelike, as we've heard that Apple could be using a new finishing process to make it more reflective like the older stainless steel, something that I think would make these phones look so much better than a bit of the dull character we got last year. Now that being said, one of the things I struggle with on my iPhone is keeping track of all my passwords, credit card details, and other sensitive info that I want to share with the rest of my business and team, which is exactly why I partnered up with NordPass, who sponsored today's video. Let me be honest with you guys. A few years ago, I didn't use a password manager. I thought they were silly and pointless, because why would I do that when I could just reuse the same password or a slight variation on every website I log into? Turns out that's how you get hacked and you lose access to a bunch of stuff, and you just wish you could go back and have been using NordPass the entire time. See, NordPass allows you to create individual, custom, and complex passwords for each and every website that you use. Once you're done generating it, you can save it inside of the vault and access it across all of your devices securely. From here, you can use the tool personally just to reference your own passwords and autofill them as needed, but you can also share them privately and securely with your team or other parts of your business, which is so useful. I have way more peace of mind since I started using NordPass, and I think you will too. And right now, you can try 3 months for free when you use my link down below in the description at nordpass.com/AppleTrack. A huge thank you to NordPass for sponsoring this one. Now, let's get back to it. Which brings us to the Pro colors for this year, which are going to largely be the same, aside from the blue titanium being replaced by a new gold titanium, as Apple realized their mistake of getting rid of gold, and they are bringing it back this time around. We've also heard that the Face ID scanning sensor could get a big update this year, but no exact details on exactly what part of Face ID would be changing. And on the right side of the phone, below the power button, of course, the capture button is also being added to the iPhone 16 Pros. It's going to have the same look, feel, and functionality of the capture button on the base iPhone 16 models, with all of the same gestures based on what we've heard. But the actual cameras themselves, though, of course, you're buying the Pros for a reason, and Apple is doing some really big updates important to photographers across the board here. While at first the camera design looks the exact same, it's the triple camera setup with the wide, ultra wide, telephoto lens, the same look we have had exactly since 2019. Everything everything else is going to be different. For starters, Apple is expanding the 48 megapixel sensor that was only on the main lens now down to the ultra wide camera as well, which is going to be a massive step update for photo quality there. I also believe, since the wide and ultra wide are what shoots spatial 3D videos, that you're going to be able to record at a much higher quality to watch your memories back now on your Apple Vision Pro, maybe at 4K versus the 1080p that it's locked at currently. On the telephoto lens, Apple's bringing down the 5x zoom option from the Pro Max now to the regular Pro, which was previously only limited to the biggest iPhone. And across all three of these lenses, there's said to be a new anti-reflective coating to reduce glare and ghosting in photos, which is something you'll see like here when you're taking photos with specific rays of light, which has made them not look as clean or clear. And on the Pro models, Apple is fixing that. And on the Pros, we're also hearing the highest quality photo and video capture is coming with a 3K recording at 120 frames per second option plus Dolby Vision, and there's going to be a new JPEG XL photo format if you want the highest resolution photos possible. Here's the thing though, all these changes that I just talked about are what's coming to the iPhone 16 Pro. If you spend more money on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, Apple has a bit more in store for you. As historically, Apple has always given the Pro Max a couple of extra camera features, and this year that seems to be more true than ever. First, we're hearing that the iPhone 16 Pro Max is getting a brand new Sony image sensor, which is going to have a number of nice improvements over the previous version that you'll get on the standard 16 Pro. The new sensor is going to bring an improvement in overall image quality. It boasts a better analog to digital converter, and it also has a digital gain control for better capturing of dynamic range and better noise processing. So it sounds like photos and videos on the 16 Pro Max are just going to look better because of the fundamental hardware. We've also heard sporadic rumors over the years that a super telephoto massive periscope zoom lens could be coming to the Pro Max. I mean, these phones obviously have the most internal space for Apple to build that, which sounds like it would allow Apple to do that crazy zooming that Android phones have had for a while. And while this is not 100% confirmed for this year, there's been rumblings of it for a while, and I wouldn't be surprised if it finally launched on the Pro Max specifically in 2024. So with all these camera changes, you might need some extra power to process all of this on the phone. And that's exactly why Apple is putting not just the standard A18 chip here, but the A18 Pro chip inside of the iPhone 16 Pros. Now, fundamentally, this chip is going to be the same as the standard A18 chip, but it likely will have an extra CPU or GPU core just to make it a bit more powerful. And again, another reason to spend the more money on the $1,000 Pros. That means, of course, that the iPhone 16 Pros are going to support all those same Apple Intelligence features that we talked about earlier. And again, anything exclusive that Apple builds out for the iPhone 16 series will be supported here. But most important to me, it sounds like the A18 Pro chip is going to be Apple's gateway to also finally improving battery life. Is this year, based on what we've been hearing, Apple is preparing the biggest battery upgrade in iPhone history for the Pro models. On the inside, Apple's said to be using a brand new stacked battery technology, which in the same amount of space allows them to actually pack more battery into. The current numbers suggest over a 9% increase on the regular iPhone 16 Pro and about a 5% increase on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and that is just the physical battery capacity, which according to one rumor is going to give the iPhone 16 Pro Max over 30 plus hours of battery life, which is a new record for Apple and a huge improvement over what we've had. On the outside of the battery, Apple's not going to wrap it in a cheap foil anymore. There's going to be a premium metal housing, which should make heat management better and therefore expand the lifetime and longevity of the battery, as well as achieving another goal for Apple, which is easier battery replacement. In order to comply with an upcoming EU regulation, you're going to be able to shock displace the battery. So basically, swapping a battery is going to be way easier with the 16 Pros than it has ever been before on the iPhone. And fourth, these batteries are said to charge a lot quicker too, up to 40 watts wired or 20 watts wireless with MagSafe charging, which if Apple actually pulls off all of this, I am just so excited for, because if there's actually one thing I want on the iPhone 16 Pro more than anything else, it's just longer battery life. Now, finally on the Pros, Apple has 3 other Pro exclusive features coming in sort of the other category here. On the inside, a faster 5G plus modem. It's going to be upgraded to the new Qualcomm X75 5G. This new modem is going to take up less space and be more efficient while also increasing the speed of your 5G connection. And on the flip side, Wi-Fi is also getting faster. There's going to be Wi-Fi 7 native on the iPhone 16 Pros only, so you're getting the absolute fastest and latest Wi-Fi standard here. And according to to at least one rumor, the iPhone 16 Pros could have up to 2 terabytes of internal storage, as Apple could finally make the jump from the 1 to 2 terabyte mark, which would just be an insane amount of storage, more than a MacBook, on your iPhone. And these of course come on top of the other iPhone 16 improvements, like the updated version of MagSafe getting smaller and slimmer, that better microphone to improve the Siri experience, and that improved thermal design as well for better heat management. And putting all of this together inside of these iPhone 16 Pros, adding them to the rest of the iPhone 16 lineup, guys, this is your final look at the iPhone 16 setup for 2024. 4 new models and all different screen sizes than before, a huge focus on cameras and massive AI features, as well as some nice changes to battery life, making this year a pretty moderate upgrade across the board. Now, Apple's going to be announcing these on Monday, September 9th, and the release date we are hearing is sometime on Friday, September 20th. That is the current rumored date for when these phones are going to be in stores. You can buy it in the Apple Store Friday, September 20th. So get hyped, because that is not too long from now. Okay, that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new, and I'll see you guys when these phones come out, because it's going to be, one thing to talk about all these rumors, but to actually see Apple announce it is going to be so fun and so satisfying. And I really appreciate everybody over the past year that has been on this iPhone 16 journey with me. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I've been Sam. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.